Hello students, myself Sachin Arjun Gurule, Assistant Professor from Department of Zoology, KTHM College, Nasik. In the previous video of subject entomology first belongs to chapter morphology of insect. We have already completed the thoracic exoskeleton and thoracic endoskeleton. And in this lecture, we are going to start with the appendages which are belongs to the thoracic region of the insect, and in this video we are going to cover the topic that is the thoracic appendage. First kind of appendage is the leg, then structure of generalized insect leg, then articulation of leg and musculature of the leg. So let's start first of all the thoracic appendages, that is the leg. Now there are two types of thoracic appendages which are present on the thoracic region of an insect, that is the leg, which are accommodating the ventral position, and the second one is the wings, which occupies the dorsolateral position into the meso and metathoracic region. Among these, the legs are most characteristic feature. There are total 6 legs present on the thoracic region of the insect, and the pair of leg is present on each thoracic segment, that is prothoracic leg, mesothoracic leg and metathoracic leg, giving a typical hexapod condition to the insects. So of these appendages we are going to learn only the leg for this lecture. So the legs are jointed uniramus appendage of the thorax. So most of important, all the segments belongs to the legs, they are jointed one, which is a typical arthropodal characteristic feature, and all the legs are uniramus appendage. Uniramus in the sense, if you see the distal portion of the leg, it is not having any kind of the branching, it is a single structure. Such a appendage we are referred as the uniramus appendage. They develop as a hollow tubular outgrowth from the lateral or lateroventral wall of the thorax of an embryo. They are provided with a well-organized set of the muscles, nerves and the membranous joint, so that the individual segment can move independently with one another, and that's why if it is responsible for the effective locomotion among the insects. So let's discuss about the structure of the insect leg. The leg of an insect is composed of the 6 distinct segments, and the 6 distinct segments is start with the coxa, which is the basal one. The second one is a trochanter, then third one is a tubular femur, then a tibia, then tarsal segment, and at the last, that is the pretarsus. So here in this diagram also you can see there are total 6 segments contributing formation of the typical insect leg, that is the coxa, trochanter, this is femur, this one is a tibia, these are the tarsal segment, and this one is a pretarsal segment. So these all segments are separated from one another morphologically, but are equally efficient to synchronize together for delivering out the functions. From an anterior to distal end of the leg, segments are coxa, trochanter, femur, tibia, tarsus and the pretarsus. The caterpillar, that is the larva, bears a thoracic as well as abdominal walking appendages, of which thoracic appendages, they are homologous, while the abdominal appendages are dissimilar from that of the typical insect leg. Means whatever appendages which are belongs to the thorax in a larval condition, they also composed of a similar kind of the segment, but they are at a rudimentary stage, but and hence it is referred as the homologous leg. But whatever appendages which are useful for locomotion and are restricted to the abdominal region, they do not have the exact structure like that of the structure of the thoracic leg. The segments are always start with the first basal segment that is known as the coxa. Coxa is a tubular, broad, triangular, oval or spherical in shape. Means the shape of the first segment that is a coxa, it varies among the different insects or in different insects. The proximal part, this is a proximal part and this proximal part is referred as the subcoxa. Then subcoxa, it is attached to the pleuron by an articular membrane which is known as the coxal corium membrane. With the help of this coxal corium membrane, the coxa is get attached with that of the pleuron, which is the lateral plate of the thoracic region. In some insects like the Mecoptera, Neuroptera, Lepidoptera and Diptera, the anterior part of the coxa, it is differentiated from into a lobular structure from rest of the coxal region, and this lobular structure which is located at the coxal region, that is referred as the meron. But this meron is a characteristic of only four order, that is Mecoptera, Neuroptera, Lepidoptera and the Diptera, while in other insects that meron is not present or is absent. So this is the first basal segment. The next one is the trochanter. Now in the trochanter, which is a second segment of the typical leg, it is a single, short, triangular or quadrangular segment lying in between the coxa and femur in all the insect. Means this trochanter is always lies in between the coxa from the proximal side and the femur from the distal side, and this trochanter is always present in all the insect. In case of Odonata, true trochanters occurs in a leg. Odonata includes the insect which are commonly known as the dragonflies. In case of this dragonfly, there are two trochanters are there, but rest of the insect order, there is only single trochanter is present, and that trochanter is always lies between the coxa and the femur. It articulates with the only coxa while fixed and firmly with that of the femur. Means whatever joint or articulation in between the trochanter and coxa is there, that is immovably articulated. But if you see the articulation of the trochanter with that of the femur, it is fixed. Means movement between the trochanter and femur is not allowed. It accommodates the tibial muscle. The coxa is having the space which accommodates the tibial muscles, and in parasitic species of the Hymenoptera, the anterior part of the femur is divided and this part sometimes termed as the trochanterus. This trochanterus is only the modification of the trochanter which is found in case of the hymenopteran insect, particularly into the parasitic species only. Remaining structure is in remaining insect is a having a very basic structure, that is a somewhat a triangular or quadrangular plate that lies between the coxa and the femur. So this is about the trochanter. The next segment is known as the femur. Now the femur, it is a third segment of the insect leg. It varies in its shape and size among the insect. In some insect, this femur is highly developed. For example, in case of grasshopper who are having a saltatorial modification in their leg, where the femur is highly developed and their shape and size greatly differ from insect to insect. Now it constitutes a largest part of the leg in case of the Arthroptera, and among the Arthropteran insect, this femur is specially is highly developed structure and for the purpose of leaping and jumping. So for modification of the leaping and jumping known as a saltatorial modification is well evident among the order Orthoptera. Example is grasshopper where the femur is highly developed. So this is about the femur. The next part of the leg or the next segment is known as the tibia, which is the fourth segment of leg, and it is generally long, slender or tubular and provided with the spines in some insects. It articulates with that of the femur and it bears a single or many tibial spur at the distal end. So here you can see, so this is a distal end and the tibia, it bears a many spine-like processes which is known as the tibial spur. Now this tibial spur, they has a great taxonomic significance as the number of spurs, tibial spurs present is very peculiar in a particular species of an insect, and hence the tibial spur also having a taxonomic significance. Then femorotibial joint, this femorotibial joint, this joint is commonly known as a knee of insect leg. The knee joint is often dicondylic. Dicondylic in the sense it has a two articulation site where the femur is get articulated with that of the tibia, forming a joint, and that is referred as the knee of the insect. So this is about the tibia. The next segment is known as the tarsus. The tarsus is the fifth segment of the insect leg. It is secondarily divided into 1 to 6 segment. Means this is a segmented structure. There are usually the 1 to 6 segments are found, except in Protura, Dipleura, and some larval forms. This is unsegmented or number of segment is the less or even absent also. The quite the first segment subsegment of belongs to that tarsus is quite large and it is known as a metatarsus. So here in this diagram you can see the segmentation occurs. So the first segment is the largest one, that is first subsegment, and this is referred as the metatarsus. Sometimes each subsegment of the tarsus distally bears a lobulated structure, and that lobulated structure is known as the plantula, as this plantula is well evident among the cockroaches, that is Blatta orientalis. The tarsal segment also receives a sound attention at the time of taxonomic studies of an insect due to its specific organization and the modification. Again, the number of tarsal segment present into the leg has a great significance in the classification because it is a species specific characteristic feature. So the tarsal segment also having the taxonomic significance. So this is about the tarsus. The next segment or the last distalmost segment of the leg is known as the pretarsus, which is the sixth or the last part of the leg, which is representing the foot. It is characterized by possessing a pair of terminal little curved claws. The claws are also known as the unguous. So these are the claws which are located at the distalmost portion of the leg of an insect, which is commonly known as the unguous. In case of the coccidae, belongs to the order Lepidoptera, and some lice belongs to the Anaplura. However, the pretarsus bears only a single claw. Means in some insect there is only single claw. But what is the generality? Usually a pair of claws is present at the distalmost part of the insect head, which is a generality among the insect. In Thysanoptera, claws undergo enormous reduction and appears in the form of minute spine only. So that is the modification with the Thysanoptera. And in case of notonectid bugs belongs to the Coleoptera. Moreover, these pretarsal claws are completely absent. This means the claws having a much variation among the different insect. The claws articulate with that of the dorsal median cuticular process of the pretarsus, which is known as the ungulfur. Okay, so this one is the ungulfur on which the these claws are get articulated. In most of the orthopteroid insect, the median lobe lying between the terminal claws is a well distinct one, and it is termed as the aerolium. So this one is the aerolium which lies in between the claws. In higher insect like Diptera, however, the aerolium is replaced by a long and prominent spine or the bristle, and the spine or the bristle is known as the empodium. So this empodium is the modification of the aerolium which is found into the higher insect order, that is the Diptera. In case of diptera, a pair of lobe-like structure occurs ventral to the paired claws, and this structure is known as the pulvilli, or pulvillus is a singular word. This pulvilli bears a large number of pores and the hairs. So in this diagram you can see the number of pores are there and the hairs are also provided. These pulvillus are secrete the adhesive secretion, and this adhesive secretion helps them in walking on the slippery surfaces. So this is the modification is only found into the dipteran insect, where is a lobulated and the porous structure which are provided with the hairs and giving out a adhesive secretion which helps in walking on the slippery surfaces. On the ventral side of the pretarsus bears a median plate, and this median plate is known as the unguitractor. So this is a median plate on which this aeroleum and the claws are based, which is referred as the unguitractor, and this unguitractor is served as a site for attachment of the flexor muscles or whatever makes muscles which are coming from in the tarsal region. These muscles are attached to that of the unguitractor. So this is about the structure of the pretarsus and the structure of the generalized insect leg. Then next point is the leg articulation and the articular sclerites. The subcoxa or the proximal part of the coxa, it articulates with that of the body through a pleural and ventral articulation. So this is a pleural region and this one is a ventral articulation. This articulation is provided here, the leg, where the leg is get articulated into the thoracic region. The pleural articulation is performed by the pleural coxal processes. So here you can see this is a pleural coxal processes is there. This pleural coxal process is responsible for the pleural articulation. It lies at the ventral end of the pleural suture between the episternum and the epimeron. So this is a pleural suture. This pleural suture is present between the episternum and the epimeron. So this region is known as the pleural processes or the coxal processes, with the help of which the pleural articulation can be done. While the ventral articulation is performed by the sclerite, and this sclerite lies between the coxa and the episternum. So this one is a coxa and this one is a episternum. So this coxa and episternum and that sclerite is referred as either trochantin, or it is also referred as, or instead the trochantin, it has the antecoxal piece. So let's see one by one. First of all, the trochantin. The trochantin is a triangular sclerite and is well evident into the cockroaches. Keep remember, this trochantin is a characteristic of only pterygote insect. In Pterygota, this trochantin is absent. In case of cockroaches, it is well evident or well developed. The apex of the trochantin is projected towards a middle line of the body, and it is very close to the ventral articulation of the coxa. So this one is the ventral region of the coxa. So it helps in a ventral articulation of the coxa, and among the higher insect, this trochantin is fused with that of the antecoxal piece. Okay, antecoxal means anterior coxal portion, which is referred as antecoxal piece. So this is about the trochantin. Then next one is the antecoxal piece. Now whenever antecoxal piece is present or it lies, it can be seen in between the trochantin and episternum. So this is a episternum and this one is a trochantin. Whenever the antecoxal piece is present, it lies in between these two structures, means the position of the antecoxal piece is here. Follow the pointer. And it articulates directly with that of the coxa by performing a ventral articulation. Now sometimes the second antecoxal piece may be present along with the first one. So here in this diagram, the antecoxal piece is not there, but if it is there, it always lies between this episternum and the coxa, and in some cases there are second anticoxal piece is also there, which is responsible for giving out a ventral articulation of the leg. Now, with the help of these articulation, the leg may move in backward and forward or upward and downward direction with allowing a limited rotation also. So, with the help of all these sclerites, the leg is get articulated with that of the thorax into the coxal processes. So, this is about the articulation. The next topic, that is the musculature of the leg. Now there are two types of muscles occurs into the leg, and these muscles can be classified into the two group as the extrinsic muscle and the intrinsic muscles. So let's see one by one. First of all, the extrinsic muscle. Now extrinsic muscle, it includes the tergal promoter muscles. So here you can see the promoter muscles, then tergal remoter muscles, sterner promoter muscle, remoter muscle, as well as the adductor muscle. Here you can see the adductor muscle, then the pleural abductor and the adductor muscles. Means all the three sclerites, that is tergite, sternite and pleurite, they gives out a muscles which innervated into the leg, and these muscles are broadly categorized into the type known as the extrinsic muscles. So they are inserted into the coxae and are responsible for the coxal articulation on the pleuron and the trochanter both. Means all these extrinsic muscles, whether they are coming from the tergal, sterna or the pleura, all they are innervated into the coxa, and it is helpful for articulation of this coxa with that of the coxobodite of the thorax. Then second one is the intrinsic muscle. Intrinsic muscles are again of two types, the levator muscles and the depressor muscles. So here you can see a levator and depressor muscles in each and every segment, as they are inserted in all the segments of the leg other than that of the coxa. Means you can easily remember extrinsic muscles are only belongs to the coxa, while intrinsic muscles, that is levator and depressor muscles, are found in all the remaining segment of the insect leg, that is trochanter, femur, tibia, tarsus, pretarsus. In saltatorial leg, the tibial muscles are well developed and are lodged in the femur. Only the apical subdivisions of the tarsus and metatarsus are provided with the muscles, while the other subdivisions are devoid of the musculature. Then pretarsal depressor muscles, they are arises in a tibia and the femur and terminates into the unguitractor plate and serve as the flexors of the claws, that we have already learned. Whatever muscles which are coming from the tarsal segment or distalmost tarsal segment, it is going to attach to the unguitractor, which is a median plate on which the aeroleum and claws are yet attached. So in this way, the legs are provided with a different kinds of the muscles, and by the activity of these muscles, they can able to move the segment, each segment accordingly, and with the help of movement, they can able to do a locomotion. So this is about the leg musculature, and this is about the today's lecture, where we have discussed the generalized structure of the insect leg, then the articulation of the leg and their articular sclerae, and the musculature of the leg. Thank you very much.